Today's project is this mid-century modern dresser. Fortunately, it does have a laminate top, so I have decided to paint out the body, and I'm going to restain the top two drawers. Had a little bit of damage. You'll see I'm going to repair it in a little bit, but I just start with a nice clean, and then I'm going to go ahead and repair any of the areas on the dresser that need a little bit of wood fill. Just going to use some Bondo. I'm going to fill those areas in. I decided to take the top two drawers to raw. So you can use a sander, but honestly, sometimes I find it's just easier to just wrap some sandpaper around a block, and I just go to town. So I usually start with 80 grit, and then I go to 120, 150, and then 180. I'm going to go all the way to raw. I want to get the edges. I want to get the top of the drawers. I even like to kind of clean up the sides of the drawers. So I'm just doing the two drawers. This finish was really easy to sand. It was in need of a good refinish. So honestly, it didn't take that long to just go ahead and sand through all those grits. I'm going to go ahead and prime out the body. I'm using Zinger's 123 primer. This is a water-based primer, so I like to apply it just with a roller. I use a thin nap roller, and then you'll see in a minute, I just use a little paintbrush to cut in on some of the areas that need to be cut in. So I'm just going to go over the surface, just get the primer on, and then you'll see I'll come back with long strokes, and I'll even everything out. I like to tape off the interior when I'm painting because I want to make sure that I'm not getting paint where I don't want it. And so the painter's tape just helps kind of keep everything contained. And I like to make sure that I get all of the areas that might be seen when you flip the dresser upside down. So think about it when you're putting it in somebody's car, or, and it's tipped up. The underside of it, you're going to see that. So you need to make sure that all those little areas are painted. And it just helps. I like to use painter's tape because it helps keep everything neat and tidy. This is the square brush by Zebra, and it just helps get into all of those little areas. I'm using Melange paint. This is their jet color. I like to use press and seal to line my tray. It just makes for easy cleanup. So I'm going to line it, and then I'm going to just brush and roll the paint on. This is a water-based paint, but I do like to put just a tad bit of water in it just to help it go on a little bit smoother. You can see I've put some painter's tape on my roller just to make sure that I get off all the little fuzzies because I don't want that to get into my painted finish. I'm using the same technique to paint out the body. I usually cut in with a brush. This is Zebra's 2-inch angled brush, and then I'll use a very thin nap roller. So I like to use anything under a 1/2 inch. I like to either use a microfiber, I've used velour, I've used mohair, just something very thin. This is Sherwin-Williams microfiber roller, and it's a 3/8 of an inch nap roller. So again, once all the paint is on, then I'm just going to go over it with nice long strokes and even everything out. I'm not going to overwork it because this is just the first coat. First coats can be scary. Don't worry about it. Once you come back, then you'll fill in all of those spaces with the second coat. After a light sand, then I'll go over it with a little microfiber rag, get off any of the dust, then I'll go in and do a second coat. I decided to finish off the top 2 drawers with Danish oil. This is in dark walnut. Everything is sanded to raw. I've sanded through all of the grits. It's really smooth. And then once it's ready, all you simply do is apply the Danish oil. It's very easy to use. You just rub it on, wait a couple minutes, pull off any excess, and then you can either choose to do subsequent coats, or you can just seal it with a sealer of your choice. So after the second coat, I had a problem. You can see all of these blotchy marks. I don't know what happened, but something reacted with this paint. So I don't know. I don't want to blame it on the paint. I used this paint before on another project that I had some problems with, and I had some problems with the sealer, and I didn't pour the paint out. I had dipped my paintbrush in, and so I wondered if there was some cross contamination. So you just have to really be careful, learn from my mistakes. You really should pour out your paint into a tray or something to paint. So I don't know what happened, but at the end of the day, I had to sand it all down. I had to reprime it, and then I'm going to have to repaint it. So since I'm repainting it, I don't have enough black to do it again. So I switched, and I'm using Sherwin-Williams, their Emerald line. It's their urethane trim enamel in satin, and the color is Hamburg gray. So I actually love this color. So it was kind of a happy accident. It worked out okay. But again, sometimes things happen. Sometimes there's reacting. Sometimes there's things on the surface that you just don't know what's there. So it could have been a host of issues. But at the end of the day, I had to fix it. So it all had to be sanded back and redone. let's look back at the before. A nice little mid-century modern dresser. It was a laminate top, but after a few of the problems I had, here's the final product. I love it. Isn't the beautiful walnut with the Danish oil gorgeous? I did update the knobs. I went with very simple little modern knobs, and then the pulls on the bottom, I think they're a really beautiful nod to the mid-century modern, but I think it turned out great. Tell me what you think.